Hello friends, welcome to this part of the video on the chapter 6 of Karukku, the autobiography of Bama. The discussion in this part of the video is part of the paper Compulsory Foundation course in English for IV Semester BCA and BSc at Mangalore University. This is therefore English language course. Welcome to the discussion in this video. So this is the continuation of my video on the chapter 6, where in the part first I discussed the food habits of Bama's family, and then she also towards the end of the last video we saw, she mentioned something about how she shifted herself from her village to the life at a hostel. The admission to the hostel brought her some changes in the food habits. It also paved way for her success, and the success did not come to her so easily, but it was a difficult path to achieve it. There were many challenges for her to surmount. Yeah, as we have already discussed earlier in the videos, it is the rough roads, bad roads that make a good driver. Similarly, here you see in the case of Bama, it is the difficulties that she faced, challenges that she tackled, made her a writer in her life. Anyhow, let's see how the travel through her education life and her workplace life takes place in this video as well as the following videos of the chapter 6. Yeah, let's see in the part here that Bama even in her childhood itself was identified as an intelligent child by her family members. She provides one example for that, that is her grandmother, while taking the evidence of her skill at picking out the lice from her hair, considered her a smart child. You can see when one picks the lice, there also there is some intelligence, because that requires some kind of observation. So if one, these are I think skills, different kind of skills probably. You see, for example, driving is a kind of spatial intelligence. So people become perfect in driving, or they become experts in driving when they possess good spatial intelligence. If they possess good spatial intelligence, it also means that they have some other potentialities or skills. I think in the same way, her skill in picking the lice was, that supported her grandmother, her party, to conclude that she was an intelligent child. And when we see her brother also, he also supported her. He identified talents in her, and he supported her and told her, "You have lots of brains. It's as if pomira fruit has been thrust into a sparrow's head. Study well and gain lots of marks." Look at the words, very encouraging words for Bama in her early childhood. We have already seen in the earlier videos that it was her brother, her Annan, who had been support to Bama, an inspiration to Bama to reach her present status. She got influenced by him very much. Of course, her spirits, her confidence was boosted by him, and that ultimately made Bama to progress through life. So these words inspired her, as he mentions in the chapter, and these words helped her to ignore the difficulties and poverty in the walk of life. Yeah, then we see in the next part, Bama's father also supported her in her childhood, because he used to send her money every month, which is more than what she needed for her school and hostel fees. You can see the care he had in sending monies. There he, though cannot be with her all the time, through financial assistance, he was a constant support to Bama. So by that she had enough money to buy and eat what she wanted. That means you can see, though there is a life of poverty in her early childhood, there was some sunshine in the form of this that you can observe. Then also we see on visitor Sundays. So because she was at the hostel, so on the Sundays, visitor Sundays were there. Visitors were allowed to come and meet the children there. Her mother would visit her with the variety of foodstuffs. She used to bring cooked beef, a chicken curry, and a lot of snacks to her. Right? That's how you see all these acts of her parents, her brother, and others can show the support that family gave to her and the love the family had towards her and her progress. and she would look through. This is another one earlier instance where the grandmother would look through her hair for lice and plait it for her and put flowers in it before leaving. These things made her very happy. This was at the hostel, right? She would even look her mother, sorry, not grandmother, I'm sorry. So please make a correction. You can see here her mother used to look through her hair and plait it, her hair, plait, right? Jadeyanna hakuantadu, plait it for her and put flowers in it before leaving. So these things made her happy, right? These things gave her happiness, her mother a kind of happiness. Then we see in the next part again, when she went home completing the 11th class public exam, everyone at her home said that she would get good marks. So like that, the family had constant support for us. True, dear students, if you are a lamp lighting somewhere, in any way, and you have a lamp stand to support, that is your family. You have a cotton wicks, WICKs, right? That to light, that is your family. The oil that is put there is family. Likewise, you see, you have a lot of support to do something that you receive from many people in society. That example you can see in Bama's life also here. Then we see in the next part, she, after receiving good support like these from her parents, she was able to make progress, not just ordinary, but she was she was able to excel in her studies and show a better performance in her studies. And but you see a sudden change in her life when, even though she achieved a lot in her studies, her parents did not want her to continue her study at college. They were reluctant to send her to college. Probably the main reason was they were poor and did not have money, and they couldn't afford her to study at the college. Dear students, please remember this, that today we have a lot of supports. We have scholarships, we have different departments to support us with some fund, and education is supported. Of course, you graduation in government degree colleges now is free of cost, right? We receive even scholarship for our study. But this was not the case then, right? So it was in developing state then. One has to have some money to go for higher education. There was no money, therefore she was not even supported to continue her studies. But she did not do so. They feared that her further study would make them difficult to find a husband for her in their community. This was the ordinary belief among the people living in the countryside, that natural to think that if she attains a very higher status in her life, that would lead to some other problem some other day. Parents usually think so, and that kind of thinking was there in her family too. That's why they were not very much positive in supporting her for her education. But anyhow, you see, she therefore had to find some places to find teaching and do some receive some teacher training and attain a job, get a job as soon as possible in her life. During the holidays, she met a nun in the same lineup who had taught her in the 11th class. Yeah, you see some influence that she had in her early childhood. I mean, during her college life, it was a nun. A nun during her 11th class directed her to continue her studies. So this was again another inspiration she received. That nun felt grieved at Bama's sitting at home and spoke to her mother and complained that she must not stop a girl really enjoying her studies by going for skipping the studies. What do you observe here? That nun identified the talent in Bama, and she supported her family to continue or support her education to be continued. Thus, we see different people in her life finally contributed to the progress of Bama. Her mother replied that she did not have money, and the nun made her pawn, Bama's earring. Right? She had to keep that earring there for pledge and get some money, and then finally Bama was sent to college with that money. So Bama's earring was pledged in order to borrow some money, and the nun gave them money because the primary reason was lack of money to continue her studies. Therefore, finally she got the money to join a college. Then we see Bama arrived at the college with the single motive of continuing the study with just the clothes she was wearing. There was no clothes. She was not rich enough to own many, variety of clothes the way rich folk or the rich children wore at the convent or at the college there. So, but still she was able to continue her study even in that status. Then she was admitted to a college and in the hostel. There she went with the same dress, wearing the same dress for the whole week. There was no other dress for her. She felt humiliated by her classmates' treatment as an outlandish creature, right? Because she wore the same dress every day, and classmates treated her as an outlandish, as somebody who is very dirty creature, like that. That was the way she felt humiliation, the challenges she had in her paths to go to the college life or continue in her studies. And in the meantime, she received a letter from her father who abused her for not listening to them, right? So for listening to the nuns. So she listened to the nun and continued her studies. He also now at this juncture did not want to support her. He abused her. So he asked her to beg them for money. Her father himself asked her to beg the nuns for money, and urged to go on and complete her studies, made her endure all the shame and humiliation. Yes, dear friends, if you have that aim or goal to achieve, whatever comes there as the obstacles or hindrance, you shun at them and you go ahead. That is needed in life. We can see that setting up of goal and working towards that is primarily important. Whatever the pains that we have on the way, they cannot be experienced when you set your eyes at the goal. So you can see that here, when Bama performed well in her studies, her teachers and nuns realized how alert she was and praised her. That was the next thing, right? Everybody supported her with her success. So that happened here. A week later, little spelling correction, W-E-E-K, it should be W-E. A week later, her mother brought her clothes, box and bed, whatever she needed as things to stay at the hostel. Her friends became now friendlier with her because she was also good at her studies. She showed her progress in studies, and everybody felt surprised at her progress, the achievement she was making in her studies. Thus, the challenges in the beginning led to her success when she was able to endure those challenges. It's a good lesson for all of us. You see, whenever we go to something or in our own path in our life, we face so many challenges, and we are not supposed to be yielded to those challenges. Instead, we should face the situation and go ahead, and there may be a good goal or good thing, good fruit is waiting for us at the end. You can see in Bama's life here, it is evident very clearly through her story. The appreciation from the teachers and the friends made her not to bother about clothes and jewelry. Yeah, that is the thing. What is worth? Anybody can buy clothes, anybody can buy jewelry and wear and make a show off. But can achievement what Bama made, or can the progress she made be possible by all? That's the question one has to think at this stage, right? She was able to do that, something which cannot be done by many. That's why the appreciation she received by her teachers indeed supported or gave her a lot of confidence. She stayed on and went about her work in her way like this. And whatever the challenges came, she was able to face them successfully. Therefore, some students asked her, why did she have jewelry? Why didn't she have jewelry or footwear? So that was a thing, didn't she, right? It should be didn't she. Bama here reveals her difficult situation with one example. But where would I go for such things? I pawned my small earrings to my examination fees. You can see that was the pathetic condition she had at that stage. Her earrings were pawned, kept for pledge to get some money. And how can she buy those riches, jewelry or footwear? How can she pay, or how can she afford to buy all those things and be equivalent to them all? That wasn't possible in her college life. That's the way Bama experienced difficult path in her life. Then finally at home, they bought new clothes twice a year during Christmas and the Sinnamalai festival. Otherwise, they had to depend on the cast of clothes of her elder sister. So the elder sister had to, worn clothes of her will be given to her, right? So therefore, only in the twice two occasions. Twice they bought the clothes. Otherwise, there was no scope for buying new clothes also. That is why it was a difficult path, as I have been identifying here. You can see these incidents. Also, one more incident here that supports her argument of the difficult life she had, being born in a family or community which was made to be poor, right? She doesn't say they were poor, but they were made to be poor for a different reason. So she brings in one incident from her 4th year study on the college day. It was incident of the college day. All the final year students were invited to a party, and there was a decision. They attended the party They decided to attend the party wearing silk sarees, and all the classmates of her dressed in silk sarees, decked out in their best things, wearing all the ornaments and all the makeups. They attended it. But what happened to Bama? They should not have money to buy one silk saree and did not have one at home also. On that day, without having any decent saree to wear and turn up in the meeting, she locked herself up in the bathroom and felt deeply ashamed of not having money. Think of this situation, how at some, for some in society, the difficult life, sometimes appears as a curse. Still, you see, she was able to, endure all these, sufferings or all these shames, and she was able to bloom or blossom as a writer in her life. She says, I wanted to weep and weep when I consider my plight. You can think of this. That was the plight she had. She wanted to weep and weep, right? A constant weep. So, even a friend from her a Naikar family told her to ask her home to send a silk saree, right? It was easy for her friend to tell her, why can't you ask your family members to send one silk saree for you? But can they afford to buy one and send it to Bama? That was not possible for a Naikar woman, Naikar girl to understand that, because that woman, that girl never brought up in a condition what Bama experienced, right? Therefore, the words were very callous. Callous means indifferent, negligent, right? Tumba negligent adanta padagaladu. Callous words that echo the ignorance of her friend and about the difficult situation of her family. Thus, you see, the same situation continued during her college life of B.Ed. There was not an exception. She suffered like that every day, along with the progress of her study. She consoled herself, thinking of the people who had a worse plight than herself. This is very powerful and wonderful line that Bama mentions here. We should think of the people who don't have what we have, right? So we have hands, we have legs, we have eyes, we have different blessings by God, but many do not have even that. When you think of those people, probably we have to probably console ourselves for the things whatever we don't have, right? So these are the riches we all possess in life. Bama even thought of those riches which were not there for even some in life. Thus, this chapter concludes, this part of the chapter, we can conclude that it presents Bama's student life. The beginning part of student life was not a smooth road to travel. It was a difficult path to go ahead, and even she had to cross several difficulties and manage challenging situations to bear all the humiliations, but she was able to sustain through, and finally you can see she was able to achieve whatever she wanted. Her tenacity, what we say, determination, that fixed mind, that finally helped her to achieve her goals, and she ignored all the problems whatever she faced in her life and walked ahead in life, and she was able to reach the destination of achieving something in life, becoming an author, for example, a good teacher, for example. That was possible for Bama because she traveled through the difficult path. Thank you for watching this video. We will discuss the next part in the next video.